Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about Caolan Loughran versus Angel Pacheco. Loughran is making his return to the UFC after an unsuccessful debut last year where Taylor Lapulus beat him by decision. And Angel Pacheco is making his debut in the UFC after an unsuccessful Contender Series fight against Danny Silva, who won last week in his UFC debut against Josh Coolabout. But Pacheco, he really impressed me in that fight, really impressed Dana White and everybody else in that fight, despite losing to Danny Silva. Because despite being hurt in the opening seconds and a step behind really throughout most of the fight, he made that a true war. And he did so with his tenacity and, of course, his hands, which were very sharp. Guy's got excellent hands, and they came alive in that fight when I thought he was down and out. And it was such an exceptional performance that it's no wonder he got signed. He met Dana White afterwards. Dana White gave him his win bonus and pretty much told him, yeah, we'll keep our eyes open for you. And here he is. He is a limited fighter. 7-2. He's got 7 finishes, 5 by knockout, 2 by submission, and both losses are by decision. 1 to Danny Silva and 1 to a journeyman, Nathan Williams. I've seen a few of his amateur losses, and whatever. They're all by decision, but wrestling was the story of every one of those fights. Pacheco is not bad as a grappler, but as a wrestler, he leaves a lot to be desired. And even though he's not fighting some NCAA wrestler here in Caolan Loughran. Caolan Loughran is a decent wrestler for sure, and he's got a beastly top game. So this could prove to be a tough matchup for him. But if he keeps this one standing, keeps it on the feet, even though he still may be at a strength and power disadvantage to Caolan Loughran, he is the much faster striker, and he's got volume and energy on his side. The guy can throw down. He can throw down hard. Again, he's never even won a decision, but he showed in that fight against Danny Silva he can go hard for 15 minutes. I think if you want to take Angel Pacheco out of his element, you got to slow the fight down and rip him to the mat. And that's definitely what Caolan Loughran's going to be looking to do. He himself has 7 finishes and his 8 wins, just 1 by decision. And of those 7 finishes, I want to say 5 of them take place on the ground, even most of his TKOs. They take place on the ground, and the majority of his finishes, including his last 4 finishes, take place in round 2. So he's not some round 1 monster. He's a guy that brings the pressure. He's slower and plodding on the feet, which I don't love. But when you're slower and plodding, you got those heavy shots, and he does have some heavy punches. And it's all about just walking you down, cornering you, and ripping you to the ground. And then once on top, Caolan Loughran, he's a much more complete fighter than someone like Angel Pacheco. He's got the wrestling, but he's also got methodical grappling. He will advance, take your back, and put you away in one way or another, and most likely in round 2. Against Taylor Lapulus, he wasn't able to take him. He was able to take him down. He had some success, but not consistently. Taylor Lapulus was able to keep the fight standing, and he was the sharper striker with better movement, which is, I think, a distinct weakness of Caolan Loughran. He's got that slow, plodding pressure, but he can be outmaneuvered for sure. And here in this fight, I do think Angel Pacheco could come alive if he was able to keep this fight standing, but I don't think he's going to be able to. I think Caolan Loughran will bully him and corner him and then rip him to the mat and have his way one way or the other. Maybe a decision, but I'd guess he's the first person to take out Angel Pacheco. Not due to any weakness of Angel Pacheco or, even a durability issue, unless you count his overall ground game. But I think it's just going to be due to strength and positioning from Caolan Loughran, and he gets him out of there from a dominant position. But Angel Pacheco, again, he's never been finished, even as an amateur, and I've seen a few of his amateur fights, and he's not shit on the ground either, and especially off his back. I've seen him lock up a triangle and go for arm bars. He He knows the moves. But I haven't seen anything that would make me think he can handle Caolan Loughran. I think Caolan Loughran's going to be a little too much for him. He's much more inclined to take the fight to the ground than somebody like Danny Silva, who it's like some tertiary option with him. With Caolan Loughran, it is the primary option. It's plan A, and he's got very good striking as well, Caolan Loughran. It's limited, with the speed and athleticism, but he's still got power, and he's got sharp technical hands. So I think, and kicks as well. I think Caolan Loughran does bully Angel Pacheco and get him out of there. That's the pick. I haven't bet on it as of yet, not his money line anyway. Threw a little bit on the minus 125, I believe, under 2.5 rounds. But I'll wait to see the props. Caolan Loughran, again, every one of his finishes most of his finishes, and all 4 of his most recent 4 wins take place in round 2. He's a guy that will figure you out, corner you, and then dominate you. And that's what I'm expecting here. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.